very nice to be here, and thank you very much for sponsoring this event. And I think it's been great to have Precious Metals as a sponsor, because it's brought a lot more mining investors into this conference. So it's good to see, and I've been listening to the presentations today. Some of them have been really outstanding. So I feel very lucky to be here, and thank you all for coming to the presentation. So First AU, we're an Australian-based mining and exploration company. We're listed on the Australian Securities Exchange and also on the OTC markets. Our trading code is FAU in Australia, and it's FRSAF in the United States. So first we've got the usual disclaimers, so I'm going to read this all out. No, I'm not. Does anyone ever read these ever? No. Okay, so this is our corporate structure. We're a very, very small junior gold company. We've got a market cap of around about $10 million, so very, very small. But we've got some amazing projects which I hope you will all appreciate. So our major focus is gold and copper, predominantly in and around East Gippsland, Victoria, and that will become very, very important in a minute when we go through that. We've had some recent very high-grade success with our drilling programs. We are also underway with a drilling program at the moment on our new Dogwood Copper Porphyry project. And we're located, I'll just find it's the middle one, is it? The laser beam? So our Victorian projects here, we've got an iron oxide copper gold project in South Australia. And also we've got our Gimlet project in Western Australia. So they're sort of the major areas that we're focused on. So Gimlet, which I will talk about in further detail, we actually have an inferred gold resource there right now of 120,000 ounces, grading about 3.2 grams per tonne. It is, in terms of value, gold in the ground, that represents about $220 million worth of gold in the ground. And I guess the question is, how much does it cost you to get the gold out of the ground, and therefore how much profit you make? And we'll get to that in a little bit. So our main focus is Victoria. And for those of you who don't know much about the history of gold in Victoria, the Victorian gold rush started in the 1850s, about 3 years after the California gold rush, which you would all be familiar with. And the California gold rush was instrumental in setting up the state of California. And when you look at how much gold was extracted from that period, it was something like 12 million ounces of gold. To put that into perspective, the Victorian gold rush produced something in excess of 60 million ounces. So it was 5 times the size of the California gold rush. So in today's numbers, that's something like $110 billion worth of gold. So that's the reason we're really there. We're looking for some of these old areas which were never really mined to any extent. Around the turn of the century, gold mining in Victoria finished, and it finished for reasons of mainly infrastructure, technology, things like that. They got down to about 300 feet, and then they couldn't go any further. They didn't have the technology or the mining capacity to go any further than that. So then you had 2 world wars, you had low gold prices, and so there was never really much work done in that area until a Canadian company called Kirkland Lake made a discovery at a place called Fosterville here, and that changed everything. And I don't know whether you're familiar with that company, but Fosterville turned out to be probably the most profitable gold mine in the world. In 2020, they extracted something like 640,000 ounces of gold, which it doesn't sound that big, but the head grade of that gold was around 34 grams per tonne, and they recovered close to 99% of it, which made this the richest and most profitable gold mine in the world. So, as always happens, every man and his dog, and there are a lot of dogs, rushed to that area looking for the next Fosterville. And they were looking along strike, and they pegged up and down and sideways. And it created a lot of interest in that area. And however, geologically, we don't think they were looking in the right place. We've shown through our geological team and also Geosciences of Victoria that there was a tectonic event about 440 million years ago, which is when I started in stockbroking, so I remember it quite well. And the mainland plate of Tasmania collided with the Australian mainland plate, and the mineralisation bent around and created what technically they call an orocline. So it moved the mineralisation from the Bendigo, Fosterville, Stawell area and shifted it across to East Gippsland. And we know this because of the geological theory, which we've tested metallurgically as well, and the rocks are exactly the same. The mineralising events are exactly the same. So geologically, it looks like it is a copy of the Fosterville mineralisation. What we don't have is the proven gold extent that Fosterville offers. So that's really the main focus of our exploration efforts. So, this is our main project is something we haven't been able to get to yet, and that's mainly because of permitting and difficulties. So the most advanced one, the one we've drilled to date, is called our Snowstorm project, and it sits around this area, Haunted Stream, Snowstorm. They're very close to each other, and we have a very, very large land holding in this area, something about 2,400 square kilometres or 1,400 square miles. So it is a very, very large land holding. And up until recently, a lot of these leases have not been granted, and that they are now all granted, so we can have access to the projects that we think are the most interesting. We also announced last week that we started drilling on what's called our Dogwood copper porphyry project. And Dogwood's an interesting one because it was first drilled by CRA Exploration back in 1995. And at that time, there was a complete change in, I guess, the world of mining and geology. Overnight, CRA sacked 94 geologists. So there are a lot of geologists driving taxis for the next 5 years. And at the time, they were drilling this project, and the hole that they were drilling bottomed in mineralisation. And the intersection was 13.2 metres at 1.3% copper, and they walked away from it. So that's the focus of this current exploration program that we're drilling. So the historic production from Snowstorm was about 100,000 ounces. We've had rock chips grading up to 112 grams per tonne, and we've completed 2 drilling programs there for about 2,800 metres worth of diamond drilling. And we've had hits up to 59 grams per tonne in that drilling, which is what we expect. It correlates to what was found historically in that area. So this diagram here again on our Snowstorm project, it shows we're going to go underground. We're going to do some bulk sampling underground, which really is mining. It'll pay for itself. We'll use the ore to pay for that program. And what we hope that will do is give us more intelligence about the controls within that region. So that's something we're planning to do within the next sort of 6 months. As I said, we've now had these new exploration licenses granted, and we can see at Snowstorm that the mineralised trend is open to the west, and numerous high-grade targets exist there. Our dogwood porphyry, this is something that has not been looked at since CRA abandoned that ground back in 95. So we have our program underway there. We're doing about 2,000 metres worth of drilling. This is a typical section from dogwood. That was the section that was completed by CRA. And our view and that of the Geological Survey of Victoria was they just didn't go deep enough. And they didn't go deep enough because they abandoned it before they had a chance to go back and assay that. Our main project is this Haunted Stream project. And this is where we believe we have the closest analogue to Fosterville and Bendigo. And you can see there are numerous workings there. These are all old mines. There's 150 old mines or workings within this historical area. And again, they never went any deeper because of technology. They couldn't get down and discover the source of this mineralisation. So what we're looking at here is a very large hydrothermal form of mineralisation. It contains the same Ordovician sediments and rocks as Fosterville. And what we're searching for is the derivation of that historical gold that came from that area. This is from the Victorian Government Mines Department, and you can see all these historical grades and recoveries there, typically somewhere between 15 to 30 grams per tonne, which is very high grade, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for high grade resources, and up to some of these areas graded up to 150 grams per tonne. So that's like 5 ounces. This is some previous drill holes that were drilled by Mantle Mining back in 2007, and they only drilled 7 holes, and they were focused upon targeting the fault zones. We feel that that was not the correct process. They should have been looking at the deeper chutes and the steep chutes which go vertically down, and that's where we're going to be concentrating our drilling on this project. So over in South Australia, we have our Mabel project. It's in the highly prospective area called the Gawler Craton, and it's surrounded by companies of the likes of BHP, Fortescue, Rio, Oz Minerals, all very, very big companies. And here we're looking for iron oxide, gold, copper style mineralisation. We believe our geological interpretation is that it is similar in many ways to that of the Challenger deposit, which is not far away. And our drill program has commenced, and we believe, we're still working for our drill program through the native title process before we can commence drilling there, but we expect that to start sometime in the second half of the year. So Western Australia, that's our Gimlet Gold project. That was the project upon which the company was initially listed upon. We have a JORC inferred resource there of 120,000 ounces of gold, which represents about $230 million worth of gold in the ground. It's very rich in infrastructure in this area. 4 of the largest 5 gold mines in Australia are in the Kalgoorlie region. And we've been doing lots of testing and reassaying of those results over the past 6 months, and we're progressing with a mining list which will allow us to mine that. And the results so far have been highly encouraging. We expect to come out sometime in the next month or so with a plan in respect to the economic feasibility of mining that gold resource. So in summary, and we have a massive land holding in eastern Victoria, which is known to contain high-grade gold from historical work and from the work that we've done, the drilling we've already completed. We have drilling underway at the Dogwood Porphyry Copper Project. We're hoping to make some announcements in respect to the Gimlet Gold resource and the feasibility of that. And then we have the new exploration potential of Mabel Creek in the Gawler Crate. So for a company that has a market cap of around 10 million Australian dollars, we've got $240 million worth of gold in the ground. We've got all the upside potential of exploring and developing in Victoria. We've got a hugely experienced, very well-credentialed exploration team. So that's the first AU story. And next year, when we come back here, we won't be a $10 million market cap company. So I'll take any questions if anyone would like to ask any questions. Okay, either I did a really good job of explaining what the company's all about, or I bored you all silly. And thanks for coming, and I'll be around. We've got a booth in the main area, and if you'd like to come around and ask any questions. There are also presentations available, printed presentations, which lovely Danielle's got here, if anyone would like one. And thank you very much for your time.